Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cows channel. We're almost to a weekend, but we have in this news update some very sad news because the first casualty of the Embracer Group layoffs has hit us, and it is Volition. So if you remember Embracer Group from previous stuff on the channel, they were gobbling up all the studios and IP they could, trying to become the next big game designer, developer, publisher. And they had like a $300 million steal from the wonderful people at Square Enix. They just literally $300 million for all of those titles and IP and studio was stupid. Square Enix should have never sold that much that low. Any one of the major games that they let go could have easily done more than $300 in revenue in a single year. But we're not talking about Square Enix screwing up because Embracer Group was almost to the finish line, but they were counting on a big deal to help seal it. And that deal fell through. It turned out it was from Saudi Arabia for $2 billion. That's billion with a B, ladies and gentlemen. And let me just say, if you're trying to build a game conglomerate or anything like that, and you need an additional $2 billion to make it work, you are screwed from the get-go. $2 billion? What kind of losses and operating structure were they using? But anyway, as I said, the deal, as you may have previously seen on the channel, fell through. And that was a problem because Embracer said, we really needed that money to make this happen. And announced earlier this year they would have to be closing some studios. And we are at the first of these major studio closures because the developer of the previous and new Saints Row Volition has been closed effective immediately. The studio released a message on Twitter and online. The Volition team has proudly created world-class entertainment for fans around the globe for 30 years. We've been driven by a passion for our community and always work to deliver joy, surprise, and delight. This past June, Embracer Group announced a restructuring program to strengthen Embracer and maintain its position as a leader in the video game industry. As part of that program, they evaluated strategic and operational goals and made the difficult decision to close Volition effective immediately. Now, I don't know how difficult that was, but we'll get to that because I don't think Embracer really cared. To help our team, we are working to provide job assistance and help smooth the transition for our Volition family members. We thank our customers and fans around the world for all the love and support over the years. You will always be in our hearts. The 30th year anniversary was not that long ago, guys. Here's the YouTube video. So Volition was originally formed as Parallax Software and changed in 93, acquired by THQ in 2000, and then again by Koch Media in 2012 under the Deep Silver label when THQ went bankrupt. And then Koch went to Palion, which was acquired by Embracer in 2018. Corporate structure is weird, guys. Now, so the games that they're known for are the Descent series. That's very old. I want to show you guys this. I looked it up on Wikipedia. Descent is 1995. Like, here's a screenshot. This isn't a tiny screenshot. This is the best resolution they had back then, guys. But they did Descent and Descent 2. And then they did more Descent. They did Free Space Summoner, Red Faction, the Punisher game, and then, of course, what we all know them for, the original Saints Row saga, more Red Faction, Saints Row the 3rd, the 4th, Get Out of Hell, the oddly short-lived Agents of Mayhem, which never really worked, unfortunately. Well, it was 16... Yeah, as of February, it sold 300,000 copies. Wasn't terrible, just didn't do as well. And then, sadly, a bunch of canceled games. They canceled Descent 4 and Red Faction 3, really? And this, I think I kind of remember Insane. I think it was supposed to be a really interesting, it was supposed to be a really cool, with Guillermo del Toro doing a horror game. It would have been awesome. And then, unfortunately, their last game, 5 years after Agents of Mayhem, was the remake of Saints Row, which did really, really, really terrible. I mean, yeah, in November of 2022, the Saints Row reboot was met with a mixed and polarized response, and announced that it would transfer Volition from Deep Silver to Gearbox, which acquired it in 21, to leverage its resources. In other words, to make the game not suck. And it was the first time Embracer had transferred a studio between one of its operating groups. And then, following a multi-billion collapse deal, announced the restructuring program in June, and shut down, sadly, today, August 31st. That is unfortunate, you guys. Again, here's the Descent series and the Red Faction. Saints Row was probably the biggest franchise ever. But the recent stuff has not been great. Agents of Mayhem was lukewarm, and Saints Row was scores of 60 to 65 on Metacritic. It was not good. Honestly, it was like a bad CW show. The characters were unlikable. You had no idea why they were together or what they saw in each other. They would complain about, we're doing this for social justice, and we're doing this for debt, and to stop the man. And then one of the missions literally had you go kill like 50 innocent people because one of your people wants a Happy Meal toy. And I'm like, wait, are we like Robin Hood Street Gang, or are we just the same? Because that mission would have fit a lot better in the original Saints Row saga, but it felt really out of place in this one. And even setting aside all of that, because you know what, some people are not going to like that story, and some people are, and there's nothing wrong with you whether you liked it or you didn't. Don't let people tell you otherwise. But what was wrong was the absolute buggy pile of garbage that the game was upon release, which is why it probably scored so freaking low. Even among sites that would have liked, hey, yeah, with student debt out of control, it's nice to see a game. Because, yeah, it could honestly be cool to see a game with things like debt and that kind of stuff. People, like, fighting back against big faceless corporations. Somebody's going to cheer for the big faceless corporation. But nobody wanted to cheer for these new Saints. They were not good. Embracer CEO previously said he was personally disappointed by the reception to Saints Row when he spoke to Embracer's AGM last September. And then it was announced that they become part of Gearbox, but now they're just going to close them. And so what is the cow's opinion? This absolutely sucks. First of all, as somebody who is, aware of how HR works, there's a reason why they're being let go on August 31st, right before September 1st, not on a Friday, but on August 31st. Because if they were let go on a Friday as per normal normally you fire people on a Friday because they go home mad, but then they have the weekend to kind of cool off, and it's easier to do because they can just leave on Friday and such, and it's kind of a dirty tactic. The reason why they're doing it on a Thursday and not a Friday is because if they did it on Friday, they would have to pay for medical insurance for 1 more month. That's something someone in HR has told me once. It's literally something they take into account. And unfortunately, the timing is even more perverse than good, because today is the day that Starfield is being played for the first time. That's going to crowd out this news feed. And worse than that, it's a holiday weekend, as I said at the beginning. You want to know why I might have mentioned a holiday weekend at the beginning of this? It's because with a holiday weekend and a massive Game of the Year contender released, Embracer is literally trying to hide the fact that they're firing 250 people because of their screw up under a rug, and that you won't play peekaboo and find it. But the cow found it, as did the wonderful Chris Scullion. I apologize, but you know what? Props to him at Video Game Chronicle for also making sure that this got out today onto the news, because listen, this sucks. Say what you want, love or hate the last Saints Row game. Nobody at Volition made those decisions to release it in a buggy state. Most of the developers and hard workers at Volition didn't ask for a story that sucked, or controls that were bad, or a massive pile of bugs to embarrass themselves. They worked hard and decisions were made above their heads to release that game. And now that decision made above their heads is being used by the same people above their heads to fire them and to try to do it at a time where we're not going to notice. And that sucks. And there's not a lot that we can do, guys. They even put the reboot onto... I forgot about this. They put the reboot on Steam 67% off, knowing that they were going to do this. Because this is not a spur-of-the-moment thing. You do not shut down an entire business in 24 hours. This was weeks, if not months, in planning. And that sucks. And my heart goes out to the... And some people are going to say, well, you can't really do thoughts and prayers because, you know, that's all I've got, man. I hope that a lot of these people find new jobs in the industry. I hope that they're okay. I hope that they're being paid appropriate severance. I don't know. The article does not say. And I checked online and I could not find confirmation or denial of said fact. And I hope that, like a lot of ex-Blizzard employees who've just left over the years, some of these guys will form their own studios or join studios that will let them actually make games that they want to the quality that they want. Because they deserve it. Guys, this is not a great Cow's Opinion channel, and unfortunately, it's an era of consolidation. We're not going to have a lot of great information on the video game industry, but let me know in the comments what you think. How mad are you, or do you think that this is, you know, called for? Some people might. I want to know. Let me know down below, and guys, play more games. Starfield is out. Games like Starfield are awesome, and you deserve awesome. See you next time.